All right, everybody. Bienvenidos. Happy Monday afternoon from Bucerias, Mexico. I'm your host, Joel Goralski from maravillanairit.com, on YouTube at Bucerias Joel. And we're just having a little bit of fun today, just testing out some of the new technology for one of our upcoming podcasts. And we're going to have this podcast called the Narco Picnic Podcast, but that's going to be specifically with guests. So we'll sit down and have a little picnic and chat with some interesting guests. But I was thinking that because it's just like easy for me to do, kind of at the end of my day or on the weekend, I'm just going to like go live and share my outlook and just my general experience and what's going on in the wonderful world of Mexico and specifically Bucerias. And with that music I had going there, I thought, man, I got to wear some shades today, have a little fun with it. Anyways, how's everybody doing? You can make some comments. I am using a streaming software today. So on Saturday, I just did a live stream with YouTube, but it kind of handcuffs you a bit because I want to be able to sometimes share some screens, sometimes go into Google and search some things, share that. And with the actual streaming software on YouTube, doesn't work that well. So I thought we'll give StreamYard a chance and see how that works. Anyways, we have Alexander Ramirez. Bienvenidos, Alexander or Alejandro. Welcome to the channel. He says he's a new subscriber from 4 days ago. Sweet. And we have Kevin Saprovich. Welcome, Kevin. Great to have you guys on board. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that after this live stream is over, that you comment on the actual video that's posted. Because I think sometimes what happens is you ask questions on the live stream and it doesn't get translated. It doesn't move over to the actual video once it's saved. So I don't see it, and I have to actually go back to the live stream, and then I can't really comment back to you. I can only comment back on these comments. So anyways, we have Jetlag 737. So you must be a pilot. Is that my guess there? You are a pilot of a 737, or you just, I don't know how you could be jet lagged on a 737 though, because you're probably just doing short haul. No. Anyways, I like the tag. And Kevin from Kamloops. Welcome. Like actually one of my favorite areas of Canada. We used to live in Calgary, but we'll go to Kelowna, Kamloops, into the wine region there and visit good old times. Hey, Ian Lucas from Calgary, where the aqua isn't flowing. I heard that. Man, that's insanity. Like you guys had a water main break. Sounds like you're living in Mexico. But I shouldn't laugh because it was, it was almost like I think you had to declare a state of emergency for that one. Anyways, welcome everybody. I thought I would kick off a little follow-up on the Mexican peso, the US dollar, kind of what's happening in the markets. One of the things I do is I actually trade. I trade mostly equities and assets, asset classes like gold, silver, precious metal companies like your miners. I don't really day trade, kind of like dabble a little bit in that, but I just don't have the time. And to day trade, you really have to be pretty laser focused, and you have to commit your time to it because you can lose money if you can't commit your time to it. So I prefer to look at a little more to the shorter, medium, and longer term fundamentals of things that I'm buying with fundamentals, and then more specifically looking at charts and technical analysis. And then, I make investments, and I've done have done pretty good this last couple of years. I think in some follow-up videos, I have one account that I manage for my mom, and not quite up double, but up about 85% in the last 18 months. But I thought that would be kind of a cool one to share, and I'll share it. Like I'll actually share all the financial information there. It's not a big account, but just show what my strategy has been and what my strategy still is. And yeah, I think a lot of guys on YouTube like promote this stuff that they're doing, but they don't actually share their information. So you don't know if they're full of shit or not. They're probably losing money in the grand scheme of things. I'm pretty cautious. I'm kind of aggressively cautious, if that makes sense, but I'll go into that a little further in the future. Suzanne Colt, hola, Suzanne, nice to have you back. Suzanne was a guest of ours at our home last week for dinner, and it was great to have her. And she's one of our investors, a long-term investor with me here in Mexico, and has a great story of her life as well, and how she kind of made a bunch of money just through persistence, determination. And would love to have you, Suzanne, on the Narco Picnic podcast so that we can all learn from you. And Alexander, you're 19, so you're young, and you're 100% in the S&P 500. Yeah, I mean, it's probably good to be taking some profit off right now and keeping some cash on the sidelines. Probably about just a little under 50% of cash right now, and all my cash I'm holding in a couple ETFs that are US dollar based. So I think I started doing that a couple months ago. I'll have to look and get the exact timing, but those tickers, let me just get into it so I can tell you. You can look at my Canadian friends out there, you can go to DLR. Okay, so that's DLR, David Lima Romeo. And you can hold, it's a Canadian based ETF or Canadian denominated ETF, but you're basically leveraged into the US dollars. So when I have Canadian dollars sitting on the sideline, a little while ago I put it in that, and obviously that's been a good move. It's not like you're going to make like a ton of money holding it there, but I really feel bearish on the Canadian dollar in general, so I don't want any Canadian dollars whatsoever. I'm okay holding Canadian equity that's got US exposure, because if the US dollar goes up against the Canadian dollar, the stocks are gonna rise, and because they're correlated to the US dollar anyways. The other one, if you're having US dollars, then it's like a bullish US dollar index. You can look at UUP. So between those two, I kind of stick some cash in. So they're obviously very highly liquid. They can't really go against you in any big way. So if I have a thesis that the US dollar is going to be strong, I like to put my money there, and I just kind of have the powder, so to speak. So, if there's a big correction in the market, which I think is coming, is it tomorrow? Is it next year? Is it 5 months from now? No one knows, right? Except the people that actually control that system and actually pull the trigger. But we do have to be prepared, and I think we're at all-time highs right now again. Well, we are at all-time highs, but I think it's very clear. So like how much upside is in this market? Yeah, there could be a lot more, but at this point, I'm not willing to take any unnecessary risk. I think there's way better deals to be had down the line. And you got to look at guys like Warren Buffett. Like, why has he got a whack of cash sitting on the sidelines right now? Probably for the exact same reasons. All right. So I want to go into the US dollar. I'm going to actually present my screen here and see how this works. Share screen. This again is kind of new for me, so let me see. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to share the entire window so that I can flip. All right, I'll take a sip of water. I got a little. It's so dry right now in Mexico. The rain is imminent. But it's super dry, and it's like dusty. I got this dusty cough today. Anyway, so I remember back to the Saturday video, and I gave some targets. I definitely said, like, look for that, 18, 47, 1850, for the US dollar to kind of punch through there. And, I said, what's going to be critical is it gets above that 1847, 1850, starts closing daily, and then start closing weekly above that. And then we're going to march to the next destination, which I have at 1952 and change. Sometimes they come up short, sometimes they push through, like we never do know, but that's the number I got. But when I'm looking at buying, that's my target. But if I see they're kind of hanging around there and they're close enough, I'm usually going to pull the trigger. But I usually like to stay as close to my targets as possible. So we could see some pullback on the dollar in the short term, but nothing's really going to happen this week until the Fed, they have their mockery of a meeting, kabuki theater, whatever you want to call it. Jerome Powell's going to get up there and, just do his bit, and everybody kind of knows what he's going to say anyways. And everyone's expecting, that the U.S. is not going to lower interest rates. So this is what you see, this big spike. They said none of these spikes have anything to do with the Mexican election. I stand by that. That's just all bullshit. That's guys who, work on CNN or whatever. They're a commentator. They have to have a reason. They have no idea what's going on, so they just get the they get the news bite from Reuters, and they just talk on the news bite. They don't do any of their own research. But at the end of the day, the Mexican peso had this run, man. Like it was like all the way from its low here back in the COVID crash, right? It had this massive run. So it had a good time. And then that's the one thing about any market, whether it's stock market, currency markets, futures, everything's about time, right? And time is more important than price. And sometimes you run out of time, and they ran out of steam, and it needed to see a pullback for monetary reasons as well. So, don't kid yourself that there's not people behind the narrative, that there's not people behind the move in the peso to give it a breather, right? Profit has to be taken. And also, if I'm in the Mexican government right now, I don't want peso at $16.36. I just don't want that. That's going to make my job very difficult. So I'm on board to pummel the peso a little bit and get it, kind of back to more of a competitive zone. And probably where they're trying to go is back up to that 1950 and just have it fluttering between 1950, 1850. That's going to be a nice soft spot for the Mexican peso. We see that happening. Now, what are the market makers, the movers and shakers up to? Well, if they're pointing you in one direction, they're likely going to take you in the next. So everyone is preparing us for no rate hike, no rate cut. Okay, so I think they're likely going to do a rate cut of a quarter point, like 0.25%. And they'll just send the markets on the other way, right? So they hammered gold, they hammered silver, all based on this data or these estimations that the Fed is not going to cut, and that they may in fact raise. I just don't see that's going to happen. So they're pricing all of this into a no cut and higher rates for longer. And I just don't buy it. I just think they're up to something. I could be wrong, but I think I'm in the 80-20 camp on that. There's like 80% chance they're going to have a cut, and 25% chance they'll absolutely do nothing. And I think almost 0% that they're going to raise rates at this point, because everyone else declined their rates. So the Bank of Canada and the European Union all did their quarter percent cut. So what could happen if they pull that on us? Well, likely the peso is going to gain some ground. My Canadian dollar, for my Canadian dollar friends out there, could get back into this channel. And this is where the Canadian dollar has been sitting for a while, and I don't like it. I don't like the way this looks. It does not look good for Canada. I see, and I said this in the last live room, we're looking at probably $1.44, $1.45. And I think long term, the dollar is kind of going, the US dollar is going back to like $1.60. And then if this kind of breaks through there, we're going to $1.70, $1.80 Canadian. I think the Canadian dollar is in trouble for lots of apparent reasons. Again, you'll hear people talking about the doom and gloom on the US dollar. Well, it's just not going to happen overnight. They're going to kill some other currencies first. And I don't know, if I was the one in charge, I'd be looking to the Canadian dollar is an easy target. Just flush that one, right? So I'm not saying that be anti-Canadian or anything, man. Like, that's my country. That's where I was born. I have investments in Canada, but more real estate investments. And I'm trying to get out as much Canadian cash as possible and have my stuff in hard investments, because if I own real estate in Canada and they go through hyperinflation, well, the real estate's just going to go up in price, right? And if you got some debt against that asset, then that's actually a good thing. If it gets inflated, it'll inflate your debt away. And that's my fear, is the Canadian government needs to inflate their debt away. They're just never going to dig themselves out of it. I know that people have been talking about that for years, but you can only kick the can down the road so many times, and you're pretty well hooped. So that's it. Watch the Canadian dollar. If it comes back into this channel, I think you're kind of good for a little bit. But as soon as there's a market shakeup, okay, like your Canadian dollar is going in like $1.45, and then if we have like a flash crash in the stock market, we'll be eclipsing these 2020 lows, or 2020 highs for the U.S. dollar over the Canadian. I think we're going over $1.50 and then heading towards that $1.60, which is not necessarily good for my home country. Anyway, sorry to be the doom and gloom guy on that, but that's just my take. U.S. dollar and Mexican, I think we're going at 1950. It's going to bounce around there. And again, things that might not happen next week, might not even happen in a month, but I think that's where we're inevitably going. There's always a destination for stocks, a destination for anything that's tradable. And I just think this 1850 destination is not the final destination. They may fake us out, for a few 3 months, but something else is going on under the hood. And you can kind of see that. I'll pull out, bear with me. If you, maybe you find this boring or not, maybe you learned something. I've learned a lot over the past several years. Actually go to day trades. For choose and spice. Okay, sorry. Okay, so the S&P was up today, blah, blah, blah. The semiconductors up today, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's approaching what I think is a stone cold short. I'm prepared to step in with my own risk capital and short the semis pretty well up here when it kind of hits that thin line. It is way overcooked. And that doesn't mean it can't blow through my zone, but I'm wrong, and I'll get out and take my loss pretty quick. But I'm keeping my eye on that. XLF has been turning slowly, but the KRE, which is small banks, that does not look healthy. That chart looks like shit, and it's no bueno. So something is going on under the hoods in the U.S. financial market, and the KRE is a bit of a leading indicator on that. Like, we saw back in February 23, where it got flushed, and all this is just a retracement of that big over corrective flush, right? But like, where's the next move? I think probably some down here, like all-time lows, 27.65 is where this baby's going. And again, that might not happen tomorrow. That may take some time to play out, could take a year to play out, could take a month to play out, but it looks sick, and that is a flare in the air that things are not good out there. I'm at the KRE right now. I basically took my short position over here when they came back to retest this area, and then I added to my short position when it came to this point, and I had a pretty fast stop, so meaning I was going to take all my profit from that top if it started closing back above here, because that meant it was going to head back to 51.45. But I'm holding. I didn't even clear out any profit yet, because I see them hitting this blue line here, which is 45.75. But if she gets back over this green line, 47.60, I'm out. I'll take my profit and run, and my trade is over. But what I just want to show you here is the financials are sick. Something's going on. They're kind of a leading indicator on that. You can look at the transports, kind of very similar, although they did recover something pretty important here. But if the transports continue to sell off, what is that an indication of? Well, people are not buying shit. Stuff is not getting delivered. It's not getting shipped. So it's, again, a bit of a leading indicator on the overall health of the economy. And that, along with everything I've kind of said is why I'm a little more bullish on the US dollar right now. Of course, gold and silver. And that's going to be the last thing I talk about. And some people ask me to talk more about gold and silver. So I'm going to do it. Silver has been a long-term play for me. I have taken quite a bit of profit on it. Back here in the 29s to the 30s and then the 32. And I'm sitting on the rest of my position, added a little bit in this zone here the last time they came down. So I'm a little bit underwater on that little addition. I didn't add here because I think that there's some more shenanigans, and I have a second buy area of 28 bucks for silver, and I like that. And if they continue to flush, then I'm buying more silver at 26.89. And then, I mean, if they have like a full-on wipeout, then I'm kind of backing up the truck here at 25 bucks and change. Kind of same for gold. Kind of give you a little snapshot of that. I've been sitting on gold for years, but I've been watching this number for years. This 2089, man, they needed to get through that, but you can see when they got above that, they just ran. Okay, so looking for a pullback to 2200, be adding more into my portfolio then. And I'm really hoping they come back to 2089. And I'm really hoping the market manipulators have some fun with us and like flush this down to 1944. And then if we see a full-on market run, like we did back in the COVID days, this 1796 is like back up the truck and like all in on gold, you know? That's my take on it. But hey, this is zero. I'm giving you zero investment advice. This is for shits and giggles. You please do what you want. Talk to your financial planner. Don't listen to me because surely if you listen to me, it'll basically jinx everything I've said, and you'll lose all your money, and then you'll be mad at me. You won't want to watch my videos anymore. But anyways, that's my philosophy, my thoughts on the gold and silver market. Do your own research. Talk to your financial planner. And they'll probably just tell you to stay in your ETFs that you've been buying for all your life. But, you know, maybe talk to a few other people, get some second or third opinions on that, because I don't know. I just don't know if the same old is going to work in the long term anymore. So I'm going to take off the screen sharing. I'm going to go to, yeah, my mic is shattering. Hey. Yeah, you know, it's this streaming software. I had this problem with it before, so I apologize. I'll do a few tests, so the next time I'm a little less shattery. How's that sound, Kevin? All right, so I think, oh, you know what? I have one other thing. Some people asked me about the dollar app, so I'm going to, is my mic any better now? Maybe it's because I kept talking away from my mic. But people wanted to see how easy it was to move money on Wise, so I'm gonna do that. All right, gonna show you guys how to move some money on Wise. All right, let's see if I can find what's going on here. Ooh. Pardon me, guys. I was looking for. That's the money. I got to get better at this. That was pretty lame. I have to be on point to press those magical buttons for sound effects. I'm going to share my screen here. Present, share screen, and I'm going to go share my Wise. All right. All right, well, there's my my invite code. I put that in the description of the video. So if you don't have a Wise account, please get one. And you can use my code and sign up. I make a few bucks for every 3 people that do it. Helps me. It's, goes to my beer fund. All right, so I'm going to go to home. So I'm in Wise. And yeah, I found the software was kind of cool. I'm able to blur my Wise account so you can't see how little money I have. So here, anyways, I'm going to move some money from Canadian to Mexican. Okay, so I click on my Mexican account and I hit convert. Okay, and I want to convert, let's say, US dollars to Mexican. Oh, you see how much I got there. Anyways, I don't keep a lot of money on my Wise. Usually once it comes in, I move it out to wherever I want to put it, unless I'm hodling currency. So a while there in the past, I did hold a lot of Mexican pesos in my Wise account, but then I could also move them to my Mexican bank. So I converted US dollars in Wise to get the best fee, and then I moved the pesos to my Mexican bank. So I just going to go pretty simple. So 55 US dollars, there's the live rate, which is pretty well, the live rate right now is 18.23. So you're getting pretty close to that. And they charge you a 31-cent fee in this particular case. And I hit continue, and then I hit convert. Okay, got it. It's done. That's how quick it is. Okay? So now I got 2,000 Mexican in my Wise. And let's say I want to send money to someone. Let's see here. Let's see how easy that is. Okay. Does my daughter need any more money? I don't think so. Well, let's send it to my dollar app. So I'll send it to my dollar app. I'm going to send 1,000 pesos. Another app I'm going to talk to you guys about here in a second. Now there is a fee, 866. It's always 866. So I mean, I could send 2,000. Why don't I just do that? Because I'm going to pay less than the fee. But I usually send like bigger amounts, like 1,000 or 2,000 bucks at a time. So I hit continue, and okay, and I hit send, and that's it. And then literally, it's going to be in my dollar. In about a minute. Once my password again. Oh crap! I don't know it, guys. Okay, I need my Dashlane up. So Dashlane is another thing. I don't have any sponsorship with these guys, but I use this as my password protector. Like, I don't have to remember passwords. So it's fully encrypted. Bang, done. And they're on it. They're saying we are on it. All right. In progress. Just a moment. Hang in there. Are we hanging in there, everybody? Man, come on. All sent. So there it is. The money is now sitting in my my dollar app account. So let's go there. Yep, and it's there. So just like that, be split. The money is in my dollar app, which now I'm going to talk about that as my last thing I'm going to talk about before I sign off. And so don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, because this is a super cool app. And this applies to Mexican nationals, and this applies to residents. So if you're a temporary resident or a permanent resident, you can get the dollar app, and it is amazing for a few things. So the dollar app allows you to hold US dollars and in a US dollar denominated account, and allows you to spend your money in pesos. So basically what I do is I hold my US dollars in there, and then when I go to Costco, or if I go to a restaurant, or if I go anywhere that takes a debit card in Mexico to pay my phone bill, I use my dollar app for that, because it transfers the US dollars into Mexican pesos at the live rate. So, and you pay no fee. So you pay zero fee for that, okay? I think there's like a small 0.001% discount to the actual conversion rate, but it is the best way to convert your dollars to pesos out there, bar none, okay? The other great thing about the dollar app is you can get up to 4% cash back. So this month I'm getting like $40 or $45. I have to check. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's every month. It adds up. That's $45. We can go out for lunch, buy a couple nice bottles of wine. It all adds up, and you get 3% interest on the balance of your US dollars. So if you are Mexican, you get a US bank account number. So that's kind of cool. So people can actually send you money to that US dollar bank account, and that'll end up in your dollar app. if you're a resident or non-resident, or sorry, a resident or temporary or permanent resident, and you don't have a bank account in Mexico, if you open the Dollar app, that gives you a Mexican bank account number. So you can now receive pesos. Like I could send you pesos right now if you had a Mexican bank account number. Now, if you have more and more friends, us who are on the Dollar app, and we want to share or send money to one another, we can do that at no fee. So there's no charge for sharing or sending money within the Dollar app to friends or anyone basically who's on there. And it's kind of cool. Like you go to a restaurant and one person pays and you want to split the bill, the Dollar app allows you to do that right in the app. And then everybody gets pinged and everyone pays. And then the one person just pays the entire bill. So that's kind of it. That's all I have for today. Any other questions, comments? You can, actually, I'm going to share one more thing with you. I can't. I'll just put it in a link in the description. I'm going to, I will share that with you guys. Oh, 1 second here. Sorry, guys. Oh, technical difficulties. Just give me 1 minute here. So you need to see. I gotta get better at whatever the heck it is that I am doing here. Oh, there we go. I was just trying to prep something. Yeah. So please comment below. Please like this video. I know it was a long one, but and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel, and if you want more of this live stuff, let me know, because really, I kind of enjoy it, and it's not that hard to do. And I'm super stoked about the first Narco Picnic podcast. I'm just working on our first guest, and believe me, this is going to be a banger of a show, guys. He's going to be a great guest. All right, so on that note, we'll just leave you with a little musica. And feel free to stay. You know, helps the algorithm. I get a little more ad revenue, and or feel free to go. Have a good day, everybody. Nos vemos. Hasta luego and adios.